Well, to discuss Turkey's campaign in Syria and the crackdown that's prompted in Turkey, I'm happy to say that we are joined here by the Turkish MP Garo Payan. He is a member of the pro-Kurdish party, the HDP, which has been very critical of this campaign in Afrin. Thank you so much for coming on to the programme, Mr. Garo. First of all, tell us, why is it that your party is so critical of Erdogan's campaign in the Afrin region?
Afrin is a diverse safe haven which has managed to stay out of this Syrian civil war fire. And in Afrin, not only the Kurds, the Arabs, Armenians, Assyrians, Christians, Yazidis, everyone has managed to establish a diverse safe haven. And why are we attacking to Afrin? And no attack has been come from Afrin to Turkey, even not a stone. But unfortunately, Turkey is blaming the YPG supporters and Afrin, the people who are living in Afrin, as a threat. Afrin is not a threat. And we have to think about a democratic, if we want to think about democratic Syria, we need safe havens like Afrin. But we don't need to attack to Afrin. That is why we are criticizing our government.
Well, Erdogan would say the YPG there are affiliated with the PKK, which are a terrorist organisation. How do you respond to that claim?
No, people are trying to keep their houses. Turkey is attacking to Afrin. That is the problem, and no threat has been come to Turkey from Afrin. But and they are trying to save their houses. And the people, not only the Kurds, the Armenians, Assyrians, the Arabs are there, and so many refugees have moved to Afrin in the Syrian civil war. Afrin's population was about 300,000. Now it is about 800,000 people are staying in there in safe havens. So why are we attacking to Afrin? That is the biggest problem. We have to think about it. And moreover, Afrin is a diverse safe haven which supports gender equality and a diverse haven. That is the model we need to support in the Middle East, Syria and Turkey. That is what we are supporting Afrin's autonomy and people in Afrin. We need to stop this war, and unfortunately Erdogan is attacking on the people who says we need to keep the peace and democratization, and he's detaining so many people in Turkey who supports the peace. This is the biggest problem, so we need to show our solidarity to the people and to the system which supports plurality and diversity.
What's your view of what the United States is doing for the moment? They, of course, had supported the Kurds in Syria in their fight against the Islamic State. Now it seems they've slightly distanced themselves from the Kurds. Do you feel like Kurds in the region are being abandoned by the United States?
It's not only about the Kurds. The Kurds are suffering, Arabs are suffering, Christians are suffering in Syria, and it is a big game of the big powers. We need to, all the region's peoples have to come together, the Kurds, Turks and the Arabs, to establish the safe havens, how to live together, to manage to live together. We are not trying to do that, and the big powers are playing their games. The Russians and the Americans are playing their games, and the Kurds and the Arabs and all the people there are suffering. This is the biggest problem. So we are trying to convince our government to make away with the Kurds and the Arabs. But the Turkish government is behaving like a Turkish nationalist and radical Islamist. This is the biggest problem. We need to engage with the Kurdish people, Arab people, Christians, and establish safe havens. That is what we are offering to People's Democratic Party, and me as my party. This is what we are offering for the region, for Turkey and for Syria.
And what about what is happening in terms of the crackdown inside Turkey? Your party, the HDP, several people within it have been detained. At least 300 people across Turkey have been detained. What worries you most about how dissent is being silenced now in Turkey?
They understand we don't want war, no to war. That is what they said on the Twitter or social media. That is why they are detained. So, due to the international law, to support war is a crime. To support peace is not a crime. But unfortunately, Erdogan is detaining the ones who says no to war.
Well, I mean, Erdogan would say, he would respond to that and say your party is the political wing of the PKK. How do you respond to those allegations?
I'm an Armenian. There are Turks in my party, Kurds, Arabs and everyone. And we establish our party to establish democracy in Turkey. How come HDP can be a wing of the PKK? HDP offers democracy and wants to establish democracy in Turkey. And me, as an Armenian, have big fears because 100 years ago the same thing happened for the Armenians, and it ended with the Armenian genocide. We had the demand as Armenians. Now the Kurds have the same demands, and unfortunately the government doesn't have any response to those demands, and only oppressing all those demands and saying, no, we are not going to be a democracy. This is the Turks' land. Whether you want it or not, you have to stay silent. People doesn't want to stay silent. People want equality, democracy, and peace in Turkey. This is what we offer for Turkey.
And it does seem now that freedom of expression in Turkey is getting worse since the failed coup. How do you challenge that, and what can be done?
You know, Turkey was a candidate country for the EU, and we could speak everything in Turkey. Armenian genocide, Kurdish demands, gender equality, every kind of demands can be spoken in Turkey, could be spoken. But nowadays, whatever Erdogan says is a rule, unfortunately. And whoever opposes to that is a traitor. That is the biggest problem. There is no freedom of speech, and whoever just opposes to Erdogan either is in jail or will be in a big trouble. That is the biggest trouble. So the European countries has to support the Turkish democracy. This is what the European countries should do, and support the ones who support democracy in Turkey.
Garo Payan, thank you so much for your time. Garo Payan is a Turkish member of parliament for the pro-Kurdish HDP party, talking to us on the programme this afternoon.